Okay, up next, let's deal with Operator. Now, Operator is one of my favorite synths in live, and it's very powerful little synth. So, I'm just going to drag our default patch onto a new track, and this is what Operator looks like. Now, Operator is an FM synth, okay? Actually, Operator is capable of doing a few different kinds of synthesis, but we could do subtractive with it. We could do a kind of synthesis called additive synthesis with it. Or we could do FM synthesis, or we could actually do kind of a combination of several of those. So what we have in Operator is 4 oscillators. Okay, each of these 4 things is an oscillator. Now note this: yellow A, teal B, purple C, and red D. Cool? Those color combinations are going to be important because we can set these 4 oscillators up to be routed in several different ways. If you look down here, you see those 4 colored squares stacked on top of each other, right? That means this is an FM synth. If I click on this, you can go up here and see that there's a whole bunch of different ways these can be routed. In this way, D is routed into C, which is routed into B, which is routed into A, right? They're all in a line. That's FM. We'll get back to that in a second. But if I did this way, right? In this way, they're all horizontal. That means A is going to the output, so is B, so is C, so is D. They're all going out. That's additive or subtractive. Right, and then we've got combinations here. Like in this one, for example, it looks like D is going into C, which is going into B, which is going to the output, and A by itself is going to the output. So these can be routed in a bunch of different ways. Okay, so let's talk about FM real quick. So if I set this to the FM mode, what FM means is that FM stands for frequency modulation. So what we're going to hear, if all of these are routed into each other, is A. Okay, A is the one we're hearing. It's the only one we're hearing, right? Because it's at the bottom and it's going out. But what's going to happen here is B is going to modulate A. Okay, so how does that happen? I can click on these colors and turn off that oscillator. So let's just do A and B, okay? Okay, so here's a note. A is the only thing we're hearing here. If I turn the volume down, it's gone. Okay, so we're hearing A. Now, B is modulating A, but the volume's all the way down. So if I turn the volume up, it sounds like it gave it shape and more kind of harmonics. Almost sounds like it changed the waveform. It kind of did, because the waveform of B is going into A, and it's basically working like an LFO, right? Because it's something that's moving back and forth. That's what oscillators do. And it's controlling the frequency of A, but it's not an LFO because it's not low frequency. It's way up here. It's way up high. So it's going very, 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 very fast. That's what makes frequency modulation. Okay, so that makes a more complex waveform when a frequency is modulating another oscillator. Now we can get even weirder with it by adding C and using C to modulate B, which is then modulating A. So let's turn up that volume. Right? Now it's getting weird. Let's add D. Okay, even weirder. Now if I want to go even farther, start messing around with the tuning. Watch this. right? Now I'm getting a very complex sound. This is the essence of FM. Um, Multiple oscillators modulating each other. Now, just to point out my routing here, if I take all of this and switch it over to a routing scheme where we're hearing all the individual oscillators, we're going to hear something very different. Right? Because now we're hearing the output of each oscillator. FM, something in the middle. So each way we can route it has a big effect on the output of the sound. Okay, so that's what FM is. That's the basics of how operator works. Now, in addition, we have these global parameters here. We have an LFO, we have a filter, we have an envelope that we can put on that filter. We have a pitch envelope, and we have an amplitude envelope for each individual oscillator, right? Okay, so let's make something with operator.